everyone, welcome to Season 2 of Courtside with the Ashland University men's basketball team, brought to you by the Ashland University Journalism and Digital Media Department. I'm Miles Irvin, and today I'm joined by head coach of the Eagles, John Ellenwood. Coach, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
To start things off, let's look back at last season where your team went 15-13 overall, led by Maceo Williams, who had an all-around spectacular year for you guys. What stood out to you from his GMAC Player of the Year season?
Well, he did it without the point guard play that we desperately needed. We had some injuries, and we had to bring our GA off of a GA scholarship to make him actually a player to be an extra point guard for us last year. And so he did it with not a lot of help from that position, and so that's really difficult to do because big guys are very dependent on their guard play. But we had Cooper Davis and a couple other guys that were really good spacers on the floor that helped Maceo out. But he got by the end of the season, by the middle of the season actually, everybody knows what Maceo could do, and everybody's game plan was to take him out of what he does, but he still produced as the season went on. So to average what he did, the way he did it, it was very impressive.
You mentioned Cooper Davis. He was a very valuable scorer for you guys on the perimeter, another terrific year from him. Talk about what you saw from him last year as that outside threat on the perimeter.
Well, Maceo and him connect pretty well, but he's very good at extending past the three-point line. Some guys are three-point shooters that have to toe the line, and I think Cooper's one of those guys that can play well beyond the three-point line and really space the floor. He's also pretty good at just being aggressive, attacking the rim, and we still want to get him better off the dribble, but he's not strictly a three-point shooter. He developed his game. We ran a lot more things for him last year, and we'll continue to run more for him this year as well. But this year he's even started to understand that his gravity on the floor is what's going to open up other people. So how hard he cuts when we run stuff, they might take away him, but it opens up somebody else. I think he's going to do really well from being just a better gravity teammate, if that makes sense.
For sure. Well, those two guys, Maceo and Cooper, very experienced guys. We now have a lot of new additions to the lineup as well this season. What should fans be expecting to see from those guys?
Well, I love our new additions. I think, one, we have some very good point guard play. We had, 3 guys last year that were red shirts because of injury, Jordan Edwards, Trent Miner, and Max Dawson. And all 3 of those guys bring us some toughness. 2 of those guys can really handle the ball. Max is an outstanding scorer, shooter, and just a good complement to Cooper. But Jordan is going to be one of the best point guards in the conference, and Trent is a great depth guy for us right now. But then we have some really good freshmen, and Bo Siegfried, who was state champion point guard at Louisville, played for his dad, so he's a coach's son, and he can handle the team right now. He's an outstandingly smart player. And then Jason Henlon, who's out of Sandusky, had a great senior campaign, and I've had my eye on him for 2 years now, and we were really fortunate to get him in an Eagles uniform. But he's a special player as well, outstanding passer, just a great teammate, and can really play defense. So those guys are great additions to us. The other one that has come back, I think has done a really good job of becoming more of a threat for us, is Jason Moore. We've had 2 scrimmages this year, and I think he's missed 1 shot in 2 scrimmages, and he led us in scoring in the second scrimmage. So that tells you how productive he is. So that'll alleviate some of the Maceo Williams pressure. But and then Aiden Gregory, who's just an outstanding teammate. We want him actually to be more aggressive, but he's the guy that we always call him the glue guys that keeps everybody happy. He doesn't have to score to have a great game, but he's very capable of it. So we have some great new players. Destin Logan's another one, and Destin's a transfer from Lewis. He's got 3 years left. Just a loud player on the floor, which coaches love, can shoot it, loves rebounding, loves playing defense, and just has a contagious energy to him. So we've got some really good depth.
Yeah, for sure. And you were able to see those guys in game action last week at the University of Dayton for an exhibition against Northern Kentucky. Although you were unable to get the victory, how can that experience help your team moving forward?
Well, in exhibitions like that, I think we were 5 practices in, and so we're more worried about establishing depth, and it's nice if you win, but we're more worried about getting our lineup set up. So with those exhibitions, I think we had a 10-point lead with about 4 minutes to go in the half, and we subbed out some experienced guys and put 5 guys in that didn't have a lot of playing experience, or it was their first time playing experience, and we wanted to see how they would handle that situation. And the lead evaporated quickly, but it's in those games, it's not about calling timeouts or making the adjustments. It's like, okay, guys, here's the adversity. How do you handle that? I thought all of our guys responded that were in that 5 or 4 minute stretch. When we put them in the second half, I thought they had grown up from that stretch earlier in the game. So that stuff's invaluable. You can't do that in practice. You have to do it against live competition in the arena of battle. So I think those guys did very well. And from scrimmage 1 to scrimmage 2, you could tell that they really learned. And when you have a coachable team, you can go pretty far, and I think we have that.
In those exhibitions and scrimmages, it's always interesting from a fan's perspective, from a viewer's perspective, to see the adjustments that a team makes from year to year. And in that game at Dayton, what stood out to me was one of those lineups you used, the double big lineup of Maceo and Jason Moore, which we barely saw last year.
Yeah.
Is this something you're looking to use more this season?
Without a doubt. Both of them are capable of guarding quicker players, and they're fast-footed big men, which is, from the defensive standpoint, that's a necessity to play both big guys. Either that or you got to play zone if you have slower big guys. So I think having both of them out there, they have to be able to play defense versus faster players. The second thing is they have to be able to stretch the floor. If you're going to play 2 bigs, one of them has to be on the perimeter usually, while the other one's down low. So both of those guys can play outside and are capable of handling the ball, or they know how to work inside out and outside in, and it's just yo-yoing off each other, so to speak, and I think they both are capable of doing that.
Your team has a lot of versatility, like those big guys, all the guards that you mentioned. That's been a steady theme for this program over the last few years, with a combination of being able to run in transition, also being a half-court team with Maceo in the post. What kind of style or identity do you think fits this team on the offensive end?
Well, I think we can play a lot of different ways this year. We're faster on the perimeter than we were last year. We have more depth in the perimeter than we did last year. We have more depth in the post than we did last year. We can play a lot of different ways. We can play through a lot of different people. If you're going to do that, you have to have unselfish players. I think we're more unselfish than we were last year. So I think there's a lot of good things. Last year was kind of, let's get the ball to Maceo and play through him, and that was our bread and butter, and it still is. But we have Jordan Edwards now. We have Jay Henlin and Bo Siegfried. Those guys are exceptional point guards, and they can create as well off the dribble. So how you create an advantage is how we're going to play. And if we're capable of doing it multiple different ways, we'll figure out each game to game. We'll have a weapon ready to go for how we want to attack and create that advantage, whether it's through the post, whether it's off the dribble, whether it's through our shooters cutting and screening. We can do it, whether it's through transition. We have the depth to do that stuff now. So we can attack in multiple ways.
Yeah, the more versatile, the better. That's
yes.
for sure.
Yep.
Defensively, what are the keys to succeeding on that end of the floor?
I didn't think we were very good defensively last year. The thing that kept us in a lot of games was we shot basically 50% from the field, which is outstanding. That's top 10 in the country. But the thing was, I didn't think our defense, which we held teams to 43%, which most teams would love, but I think we weren't a very good rebounding team. I don't think we were very good at straight line drives, just keeping a guy in front of you on a closeout, so to speak. And then transition, I thought, we were okay at that, but the rebounding, the straight line drives, and the transition, you have to be great in those areas. No matter who you play, you can't give up those easy points. So I think we're a lot better at that. Just the depth helps with that. So when guys are tired, they'll find breaks. Now, if guys get tired, we can put somebody else in. And that really helps out our defensive effort just from that aspect of things, of having more guys that we can play. So
overall, what are your goals and expectations for the team this season?
I think our guys, obviously, I want them to play for a championship, and I think preseason poll we're right there as one of the top teams. So, but I looking at it, I think our conference is really deep. There's probably about 7 teams that could win the championship this year, and that's very abnormal for a conference. But I think, we have great leadership. We have guys who care, that are coachable. And, I think we can be playing some really good basketball by the end of the year and hopefully be in contention for those championships, NCAAs. And once you get to those levels, the sky's the limit. But, we just want to win, every day right now. And that's kind of where our mindset is. We know how good we can be, but that's all pie in the sky unless you put the work in.
That's right. Well, excited to see how it turns out on the floor. But for now, it is time to take a quick break. But don't go anywhere. Coming up next on Courtside, Coach and I will preview the team's schedule to begin the season. So stay tuned. You're watching Courtside right here on AUTV. Welcome back to Courtside, right here on AUTV. Coach, let's take a look at your guys' schedule to begin the season. You begin regular season play in a couple of weeks, taking on Grand Valley and Wayne State in road games before coming home for Salem. What are you looking to see from those first few games?
We come right out of the bat, or right out of the gate, playing some pretty good teams. Grand Valley, we played the last 2 years, and we played them over the many seasons, being in the GLIAC. But they're a great opponent, and we've won the last 2 games on buzzer beaters pretty much. So I expect nothing short of another tough game with them. They're an outstanding, well-coached team with great talent, so it's going to be tough. And then, a day and a half later, we're playing Wayne State, and Wayne State's a well-coached team that has great talent. That's an old GLIAC foe. So it's going to be tough, both those opening games. But Salem, I don't know much about, to be honest with you. I know they're a D2 team out of West Virginia. And then, pretty soon after that, we have IUP, who's an outstanding team, Pitt Johnstown, who's an outstanding Division II team, and Saginaw Valley, who's an outstanding Division II program as well. So our non-conference is going to be very tough in terms of our Division II opponents, and it's something that I like our team makeup, though, to take on all those challenges. So it's going to be different styles that we're going to see. In our exhibitions right now, the other day against Northern Kentucky, we played a team that played a lot of matchup zone. So we saw a different style of defense there that we're not used to doing in practice. And then the other day we played another team that presses all the time. And we're going to see a lot of that this season. So handling those things early, I always say the 2 things that beat you early are zones and presses. And if you're used to them, then they don't bother you as much early on. As the season goes on, your guys get very comfortable playing against those live situations. But early on, it's tough to see where your advantages are when you're in the thick of it on the court, and that's something that we're trying to take care of in our exhibitions before we play. So those things don't sneak up and bite us. But I like our non-conference schedule. It's going to get us ready for a very challenging GLIAC schedule or GMAC schedule, playing those GLIAC schools and the PSAC schools. So it's going to be a fun couple of weeks playing those teams.
Yeah, so you mentioned a lot of great programs, lots of steady competition early, a chance to get into a lot of close games.
Yeah.
And you guys were in a lot of close games to start last season with mixed results across the board.
Yeah.
When it gets into crunch time, what are the keys to your team pulling out those wins, you think?
I don't like playing in that many games like that. But it's, part of that is the way we play. And it's just a grinded out system that we've always kind of played defensively. A lot of teams are going to this up and down style where they want a lot more possessions, and as a result, you get bigger. You might win by more, you might lose by more. To me, I value each possession, and it's something that We've got to be very solid, but there's an attitude to win those close games, and that's something that we have to have. I think our rebounding was a cause for a lot of, you can look at last possessions, but during the course of a game, I think our defensive rebounding was a major problem. If teams get an offensive rebound, their chances of scoring are very high. You're talking above 70%. So we have to do a better job of keeping teams off the offensive rebounds, and that should help us out from that aspect of things. The second thing is make free throws. Those are the highest percentage shots in the game are free throws. If a guy's shooting 75% from the free throw line, he's considered a decent free throw shooter, but 75% from the field, he'd be the best in the country. So you want to get to that free throw line and make those free throws. Those are two things that we've got to really concentrate on because we're going to get fouled a lot. Our last scrimmage, we shot 54 free throws, and that's a lot of free throws to shoot. That's a lot of points to be had, and if you can make 75% of those 54 free throws, then you're going to win a lot of games.
Yeah, for sure. Well, last thing for you, Coach, we got an exciting season coming up. Do you have any messages for the Eagle faithful as you begin to embark on another season?
Yeah, we got a fun team to root for. We got an exciting player in Maceo Williams, Cooper Davis. I think we got some some emerging players in Jordan Edwards and Jason Moore, especially Aiden Gregory. These guys are not only great basketball players, but they are great people, and they're people that our community can really root for and support, and they know you're there. They know when you're cheering them on, and they're going to give it everything they got for you. So come out and support us, and then we'll give you that effort that you're looking for.
For sure. Well, Coach, thank you so much for joining me, and good luck to start the season.
Thank you, Miles.
As a reminder, be sure to tune in to 88.9 WRDL for full live game coverage of Ashland University's men's and women's basketball teams all season long. I'm Miles Irvin saying thank you so much for tuning into Courtside right here on AUTV.